Alright guys, got something a little different here today. I got an Autel Maxicom Mk808 and it's right here. Yeah, the good folks at Autel contacted me and asked if I wanted to check it out and maybe give it a review. You know, and I figured, yeah, what the heck, because I've used their products before and I'm familiar with them and I like them. And this one here is a lot more modern than what I've been using, so I've incorporated my buddy here, Bill, little dirt bike, and he deals with the newer cars just about every day, so I think he'd be better versed in telling you about it. And you know, go ahead, buddy, because I think you'd do better than I would.
All right. Well, basically, it's a glorified scan tool, and I don't say that in a negative way. But you know, it'll do all your basic features that any scan tool will do, but then it'll do a whole lot more stuff too. You can see the interface here. I powered it up. You have to boot it up from the start if you had it cold, but I got it just in standby mode, so all I had to do was hit the on button here. But it turns on, and actually it really looks like an iPad or an Android tablet when you first start it up. And
yeah, you know, this isn't just a fresh unboxing here. I actually gave this to little dirt bike 2 weeks ago, you know, so he can familiarize himself with it. And
yeah, I tried to study it up a little bit. Yeah. You can see it's got a very thick manual, so we're probably not going to get to every single feature it's got, but we're going to try and give you guys a decent overview. So I think maybe what we'll do here, one thing I'll just show you guys, like I was saying, it's basically like a mini tablet. You've got all different stuff. You got a calculator on here, there's a clock. You can get your email on this thing if you wanted to.
It's a mini computer.
It is, yeah. So it's really a tablet, but then the main thing that you do with it is this Maxicom. Oops. You got this Maxicom program here, and that's where all. You see it?
Yeah, you know, I was getting the glare from the camera or from the lights.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
And this Maxicom is really where you do all your diagnostics and your code reading and fixings. So how about we take this thing out and hook it up to a car, and I should be able to show you a little bit more about what it actually does. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of weather out there, so we're actually going to get in the car ourselves after we plug it in and show it to you. It's going to be a 2014 Toyota Corolla. All right, let's go, buddy.
All right.
All right. You can see it's snowing out here. Oh, is this door open, buddy?
What's that?
Is this door open over here?
Yeah.
All right. I should have sent him out here earlier to warm it up, but let's hop inside. All right. What he's doing now, he's under there, he's plugging it into, what's that called, an Obd2?
Obd2.
Obd2 connector.
Yep.
And that's where it is on most cars, it's right under your foot pedal.
Yeah, so I just plugged that in there. Sometimes they're on the passenger side, but we plug that in, and then the other end of it goes and plugs right into this connector on top of the machine here. And then, what we're going to do here, getting a little ahead of myself, but we'll start out with this Diagnostics tab here. That means it's connected to the vehicle. You see that little vehicle car thing coming up there?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you're hooked up. But we'll go into Diagnostics here, and there's two ways we can do this. I'm going to do the model way first. So this is a Toyota, so we're going to look for Toyota in here, which is right there. And let's try the automatic. What they do here is you enter your VIN number, or you should be able to read it from the vehicle automatically, so you don't have to go through the trouble of that. And the reason it does that is then it can figure out what engine you got and all the different features that it's going to be looking for.
All right, the scanner picked up all the VIN numbers and the codes it needed. I'm going to have to keep doing this, buddy, because you can't see where the glare is, but I can.
Yep.
All right, like I said, he just put it in, and it got the VIN number from the car here, and you got to make sure the key is on. If you don't, it'll come up with a fault.
Yep. Yeah, it won't be able to read anything if the key is not on. Ignition on.
Right.
Engine doesn't necessarily need to be on though, depending what you want to do. But once you read the VIN here, it comes up with which country. So we're USA, Corolla, and then what year, 2014, which engine, with or without smart keys. And this depends on your vehicle. It'll give you different options. But once that comes up, you get to this screen here. And there's two options, so we're going to go into diagnosis here. This is pretty neat. We'll just do the auto scan here. And what it'll do is this thing will go through and scan, and it's going to check every single system that the vehicle has that's available to be scanned, and it's going to tell if there's any problems with it. So you can see them coming up here. They're going kind of quick, but there's tire pressure monitor, air conditioner, main body. Looks like we got a fault there. We'll have to see what that's all about. Driver door, motor, occupant detection. As you guys know, these modern vehicles have tons and tons of different systems that monitor basically every single part of the vehicle. So let's see if we can take a look at what's going on with one of these faults here, main body, with this little arrow here. All that did is that tells us what that particular system is. And another thing you guys will notice with these is they're a little bit, I wouldn't call them on the slow side, but there's a lot of stuff going on in here. So as you're working with these, usually you got to pause for a little bit and wait for one of the screens to come up. That basically gives you the idea with this, though. Again, you can go through all your systems and you can see that, you know, if you got a problem with something, it'll tell you. Alright, I just wanted to show you guys because I started getting ahead of myself again. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you wanted to see one of those codes. What you do is you tap on it like I just did, and then you'll have this screen come up. And if you hit trouble codes, it'll show you the whatever trouble codes for that particular subsystem, whatever they are. So you see here we got P1604. It says startability malfunction. So whatever that is, you'd probably have to look it up and figure what that actually means. But that particular code this vehicle was throwing at some point in time. Now, another thing you can do with this thing, we're just going to hit the escape button. You can see when you're in this screen here, you always have these buttons underneath. You can hit the escape button and go back through each menu. We're going to go back, we're going to go all the way out of this. And instead of going this way through the particular, whenever you do one of these, it's for the particular subsystems of that particular vehicle. But the other way you can do it is you go in through this one here. It says Obd2. If you go into there, you hit auto scan, and it might take a little minute, it might take some time for it to, there you go, that wasn't too bad. But then it'll come up with this screen here. And what this does is this is where you can read your codes. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. You read your codes here, DTC. So you can open that up and see if there's any, just your standard check engine light codes, none of the special ones that we were looking at before. And it says no fault codes detected. So that's good. Oh, no. This is pretty cool, your live data here. This won't really show us a whole lot since the engine isn't currently running. But this will take all the sensors on the vehicle, and anything that can output a useful number, it'll show you. So for example, we've got our coolant temperature. We've got, and look, we're looking at 0 degrees Celsius. You can change your units, but right now we're in Celsius, so right around 32 degrees. That's about right. 0 engine RPM, of course, 0 vehicle speed. Throttle position. See that? If I take the throttle and I peg it, then your throttle position goes up. So all this is all live data for all the different sensors on the engine. O2 sensor voltage. There's a ton of different things you can read through here. Look at it. Look at this list.
Wow.
There's so many different things that you can read. Then if we come back here, this is another interesting one. If we come into vehicle information here, you gotta make sure your key is on, which it is. So we'll hit OK. This will show you a lot of different information about the vehicle, mostly just what I would call statistics. So for example, I thought this one was interesting. Ignition cycle counter, 3,379. So that means in the lifetime of this vehicle, the ignition has been turned on and off 3,379 times. So I thought that was interesting. And I mean, most of these numbers you would use for more of like a diagnostic. I can't think of the word. I lost the word. But if you're trying to, you wouldn't look at these things, of course, just because you're interested in them. You would probably look at it because you have a problem. So if you have a problem with your catalytic converter system, you might want to go in here and see how many times this or that or the other thing has happened, and that might help you figure out what the problem is. So that's one of the other neat things that you can do. And then some of these components you aren't applicable to this particular vehicle. For example, the component test, I believe, on this particular vehicle, yeah, it's not supported. That could be because the engine's not running. I'm not exactly sure. It depends again on the vehicle. Each vehicle is different with which options you have available to you. But we'll get out of this for a second.
Yeah, I want to mention that this car doesn't have very many miles on it. The wife only puts about 2 miles a day on it during the week, so it's only got 6,000 miles.
Yeah. But so that's the basic idea of what you can do within the diagnostics portion of it. But there's so many other things you can do. Like you got the shop manager here, and basically what you can do with that is use it to take notes. So on each vehicle you can take notes on it, figure out what you did to it or what's been done to it, and so on and so forth. Of course, you got your settings and your update. Function viewer is kind of interesting. That's for each vehicle. You can go in and look at what functions you're actually able to access through this thing. Academy, that's for like if it's basically like the tech support center. If you want to learn how to use this thing, you can go into there. Maxifix is it's kind of like a forum / database. So you can go into Maxifix and look up the different trouble codes and what their causes are for each particular model. And there's also like a forum in there, so you can talk to other people that maybe had the same code on the same vehicle and maybe find out how they fixed it.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned, but this hooks right up to the Wi-Fi. This is hooked right up to the computer right now.
It does, yeah. Yeah, we might be a little bit far from the router at the moment, but yeah, this is the Maxicom app, you could call it, that we were just in right there, and that's where you do most of your work. But if you go back here, yeah, we're connected to the internet. I can go right down here. I can go on Chrome, and depending on, we might be, like I say, we might be too far from the router. But if we weren't, it would actually let the home page is autel.com. It would actually load up, but you can search anything. So if you're working on the car, you find you got a particular code, you could Google that code right then and there and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we're out in the driveway right now, so maybe we'll check that when we go back in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that about sums it up. I showed you guys that manual. There's so many things that this thing can do, and we just can't get to all of them in a 10 or 15 minute video. But
there's a lot of videos on YouTube about this. You know, they go into a little more depth, and they're well worth watching if you're going to purchase one of these.
For sure.
All right, we'll turn the car on here, and let's see some of the stuff that it can do, Bill.
Sure. So what I'm doing is I'm just going into that auto scan again. So it's going to connect to the vehicle again. But this is something kind of neat that you can do. Two things. This really doesn't necessarily require the engine to be running, but this is your IM readiness. And basically what that is whether or not the system has gone through its self-check of each onboard system that it checks in order to find out if there's any codes to be thrown. So let's just say you could do since DTC's last cleared. So that's the last time you cleared the check engine lights. You got your misfire monitoring, fuel system, catalyst, all the different systems, evap system. That's usually a big one that there's problems with. And as you can see here, currently they're all okay. So that's good. Now, I'll just show you guys something. If we do this driving cycle, if you look, a lot of these, like the evap system monitoring, oxygen sensor monitoring, since we just started up the vehicle, those are incomplete. Now, what's important here is, let's say that we were looking at the previous screen since the codes were last cleared. If any of these were incomplete, I would say probably you don't want to go and get your vehicle inspected yet. Reason being is that they'll fail you because the tests are incomplete. Even if you don't have a check engine light on, if your system hasn't got around to checking those things yet, then they won't pass you. So that's just a little tip for you guys. But another cool thing you can do is if we go into our live data again, where I was showing you guys, and we get all our different sensors and stuff that we can read, we can actually make a graph out of them. So just for the heck of it, we can do whatever you want, but we'll do RPM. We're just checking that little box there. We'll do coolant temperature was in here somewhere. I forget where it was. I think it was up near the top. Here we go, coolant temperature. And let's see if we can find one more. How about throttle position? Absolute throttle position. Then, if we come down here and we hit this graph merge button, we'll get a graph of each of those three things. You can see they're color coded. So for the blue one, that's your coolant temperature. Of course, that's pretty pretty much going to look constant since the graph is always moving, even though it might actually be working its way up. Engine RPM is the green one. That's the most interesting one, because if I rev it up here, you can see the RPMs going up and down. So that's kind of neat. And then your throttle position too is the red one. I don't need to move the throttle a whole lot to get the RPMs to change, so that's why you're not seeing a big change there. But if I like rev it real quick,
spike it.
You see it spike, yeah. So that's pretty neat.
It is.
And you can record all this stuff if you wanted to do data logging. For this type of thing, this isn't really something that we'd really need to record. But if you were trying to like, if you wanted to do like your fuel mixture or boost pressure, if you were on like a turbocharged vehicle and you wanted to monitor that as you were driving or doing a pull or whatever, that's super useful because then you can record it.
Yeah, right now you don't have any engine temperature because we just started.
Right, yeah, we're just hovering at like, we're at like 35 or 40 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so that's I mean, that's almost 100 degrees, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, or more actually. But you get the idea there. So it's just slowly going to work its way up, and you can do this with all the different ones, and you can get rid of those, and you can add as you've got this graph going. You can take that one out and add a different one. Intake air temperature. You can do whatever you want with this. So it's pretty neat.
It is pretty cool.
Yep.
You want to go back inside and see if we can?
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
Pick up the Wi-Fi.
All right.
All right. We're back inside now, and we're closer to the router. And you can't blame their machine for that because we had the doors closed and everything like that, and I don't have the best internet system, but I'm sure when you're working in a garage with this, you won't have any problems. But another thing I want to mention, buddy, is the case.
Yeah.
The case they give you here is like a nice poly case, and it comes with Velcro straps, so you can strap your thing in and carry it around with you.
Yeah.
And it comes with a power supply.
Charger, yeah.
And it comes with this nice cable. You know, it's like I say, it's a well-made piece of equipment.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, let's get back to what you were doing here.
Yeah, well, I was just going to show you real quick since we were inside now how you can get on the internet with it. You got your little chrome decal down there, so if we tap that, Chrome should open up. There you go. You got a Road King on there.
You can watch YouTube on this thing.
Yeah, you can actually watch a video on there.
That's funny.
Yeah, and that's good because I don't know how many times I've been working on a project and I found myself wanting to watch a video on how somebody else did it. So you can do that. No, sorry. I mean to
we still had it. We had it.
And then we hit the home button, come back. Like I say, you could actually get your email on there if you wanted to. It's got its own email app, so you can set up your email account and do that right from this thing. And then there's that forum I was telling you guys about, which I don't think I can get on currently just because I didn't actually set up an account for it. But that's the Maxi Fix, so you can get into that. There you go. So there we got something here. It's loading, but you guys get the idea with that. And then the only other thing I would show you guys is you got on the side here this little, if you're wondering what that little button is for, that's just for your shortcuts. You can set this thing up and put anything in there. But if you want to, like I would probably put my email and my browser in there, and then I'll have whatever else, probably the Maxicom app and settings. That way I can get to everything super quickly. So no matter what screen I'm on, whether I'm from here, or if I'm out in the open here, I can always get to those shortcuts right away. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that.
That's pretty good then. All right. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I want to thank the people at Autel, and I'm going to see if I can get a promo code. And if I get one of them, maybe you guys can get a little bit of a discount. But I'll put a link down there in the description, and check it out. Anybody that's in the auto trade or a hobbyist or something, it's something they could use. So, what do you say, buddy? Enough of this?
Enough of this.
All right.
See you in the next one.
All right.